Right, welcome back to Modern Daze. We're in episode 3 now. Woohoo! We're getting there. We're in the thick of it. Let's ask our question for this week and let the players introduce their characters with the answer to the question as well. So today, or this week's question is, where does your character feel most at home? And I've kind of expanded this a little bit just because of the nomadic nature of some of our characters, rather, not the players. They're perfectly fine at home, but it also could mean where you're most comfortable. So let's start with Kyle.
Hi, I'm Carl. I play Cadman, the Paladin, and Cadman is the most feels most at home when his feet can be mixed in with the bare soil.
I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go, Ken.
Hi, I play Liam O'Brien, a 12th level ranger, and Liam isn't at home anywhere because he doesn't feel at home, but he feels the most comfortable when he is loping through the woods with the wind flying down his back.
Love that. Let's go, Ian.
Hi, I'm Ian. I play Darrell Knight, the blade singer. Darrell feels most comfortable in the mansion of Sir Francis Huntley, his friend, mentor, and closest thing to a father figure he had growing up. The place is full of fey-wrought art, both paintings and sculpture. The mansion is situated on the outskirts of Edgbaston and sits mostly empty for most of the year, but Darrell finds it peaceful and soothing.
Let's go, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom. I play Raphy Matthews, and Raphy feels most comfortable when he's around people who are joyful and have a purpose. So, for example, when he goes out to a club, or if he's teaching a capoeira class where everyone's happy playing music and singing.
Nice. And Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm playing another paladin. Cadman is not the only one.
Hashtag got paladins.
Cadman is a druid. That's canon.
This has truly caused some issues.
Anyway, and Berin feels most at home when he's in his house, which is a rather old and slightly run down, in need of a bit of TLC, manor house in Dartmoor. And deepest, darkest Dartmoor, and it's a very cluttered building full of books and other things he's collected over the years.
Nice. Sadly, we don't have Ben here at the moment. He is due to appear, probably at the most annoying moment for Andy to have to sort out the cameras. As is Sod's Law and all that. So
it'll be in 2 minutes' time.
Yes, literally. But let's dive back in, shall we? Previous episode. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Like and subscribe. Last episode, our players had fought some shadowy and mysterious creatures that seem to be quite dangerous, causing...
Yeah, they ripped me to pieces.
Berin ended up in ribbons.
Had to be saved by Cadman. So he is the proper paladin, I'm the fake one.
Oh no, it's caused a real rift in the party.
Maybe you're a rogue, the fact that it ripped you apart so much, or a squishy mage.
Uh-oh.
You have got some funny spells.
Well, we'll find out what type of classes people are playing, because not necessarily all classes are going to be represented by the normal stereotype, such as we've got a wizard in the party. You wouldn't know he was a fucking wizard. He just gets right in there, right in the thick of it, blades and all. So yeah, let's go back over to our as you can see on this page, for those who weren't here just before the stream started, and obviously for the audience purposes, I've added in an extra location on my little map here, and that's where Bellevue Manor is. Each time we go to a new location that has an incident in it, I will be adding a little red marker, like Google Maps, which I thought was quite nifty.
Do you have a
Very
picture
nifty.
of the? Because we had those things that ripped me to pieces, but then there was
Yep.
one much bigger, nastier.
Oh
than yours.
yes.
I never saw it apart from Ben.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
But
right. So
I
that's
would. I could still hand it out. I could still.
No, don't.
No.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Fair
Well,
enough.
seen it.
No.
No.
All right. That's fair. Let's head back over to the manor, because I believe there's likely still things that people want to do. And I don't want to do too many big skips between things unless there's a need for it. Right. So I don't think we're in initiative anymore. The last thing that happened was the big the larger shadowy creature that, as you've all rightly said, nobody's seen except Hendrix, and supposedly the assistant Daria, and the other creatures had fled when this thing had left. It screeched, it let out this sort of unearthly wail, and that seemed to mark a signal for them all to scarper, and they left. The darkness in this place has now dissipated, so it is normal lighting. The lights in the lamps and ceiling lights and chandeliers and such all around the manor do start sputtering back into back on, basically, and you can all see properly now. You're all standing around. Renwick has just said, "My wife," and is going to start heading upstairs. Is there anything that anybody wants to do in these?
What I said to him at the end of last session.
Yeah, she's probably a goner. Yeah.
Right. I'm going
he
to
doesn't pay you any mind.
I'm going to accompany Lord Renwick.
Okay.
I have no idea where his wife's located, so I'm rather than rushing off and trying to find her, I'm going to go with him, and which means I'm going at his pace.
Yep, absolutely. So I will take you both. Is anybody else planning to accompany Renwick, or
not immediately? I'm just going to collect my arrows.
I'm going to chase after Hendrix.
Hendrix, so you probably will be heading up the same way that these will. So I'm going to take.
There's a stair here, wasn't there?
Yes, but so that's where they're going to be heading up. So it's all up the same steps.
And that comes to here, doesn't it?
I'm going to bring you guys down. Oh, sorry.
Darrell will probably go with them. Just
go with them, yeah. That's absolutely fine.
I've still got all my glowy armor and spirits around me as well.
Yes. Did you cast? If you cast a concentration spell at all?
Spirit Shroud is because you've skinned it differently. I don't know if
it'll be mechanically the same thing.
Oh, it is concentration then.
Yeah, it'll be concentration.
Yeah.
So
that's still going.
Yes, it's still going.
1 minute.
All I need to know is whether or not you were had dropped your true sight.
No. So.
All right.
The visage actually gives me true sight, which will continue than what I was doing.
So
before.
You still have true sight.
Yes, for
gotcha.
It's basically reset for another until I drop it.
Okie dokie. Right. So as you come up here, I'm going to say at the moment, obviously Ben's not here. We won't do any interactions with Hendrix just yet. So let's do the ones that we can interact with. Renwick sort of leads everybody up.
Sorry, did Raphy come as well?
I'm going with Cadman because we're going to look for Hendrix.
Yeah, that's the
right.
It's all gone as one big group, I think.
Apart from
Liam. Oh, sorry,
Liam, because he said downstairs.
It was. Right, okay. Just with concentration spells, I never remember. Right, so Shield of Faith is concentration, up to 10 minutes. Does that
Yep.
mean when I stop concentrating, it lasts 10 minutes?
No,
Or
it drops.
you drop
It drops as soon
so
as
you
you lose
can
concentration.
concentrate for a maximum of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Gotcha.
right. Yeah.
Okay. So that is still going on Raphy, mine, and I'm assuming Cadman's is still going on me.
What, the Shield of Faith?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
The
absolutely
Shield of Faith
fine.
chain we ended up doing.
Yeah. So you see Renwick rushes up. Oh gosh, what have I done? Rushed up to this door and he opens it, comes inside, and I'm on the wrong layer. Anybody that wishes to follow him may do so.
Can I just ask a question? As we're rushing past, we come out of this door, don't we, here?
Yep.
So just paying full attention, glancing around, do we
Yep.
see, is she, the assistant, is she lying on the floor ripped to pieces?
Anybody who's, in fact, everybody that's up there make me perception checks. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, everybody sees she's on the floor. Renwick seems to have this one track mind at the moment, going straight towards, hasn't noticed that his assistant is down there. As you guys go over the veranda, you can see that she's on the floor, and I'd say Cadman and Darrell, you both see that she is breathing, but only just.
Okay, I'll head down there.
Okay, so you go.
Sorry, this will be back to the top there.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
That's why I brought it up, because I thought
Yeah.
that might prompt something like that.
I'm
Actually,
in,
no, I will take you up
that
there.
case,
I will take you down here.
I'm going to say Cadman, go with Renwick. I'll go with Darrell. I've got something. I'll start fishing in my little chest rig.
So you, Raphy, you're going down with
I'm going
Darrell,
down
yeah?
as well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll stay
Get
with...
to her quicker.
Yeah, I can just jump off the top.
I won't make you make an athletics check for that. It's only 10 foot. You have slow fall anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't.
I'll just miss his step there then. Get you there.
Yeah.
Don't waste a spell slots.
God damn.
It's not a spell slot for me.
It's a.
Oh,
Will,
listen to him.
okay.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, is this the initial bits of discovering what abilities each of our characters have? Is it just a bragging session of what we can do?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it's a
Normally it's for you
vital.
lot.
It's a vital part of D&D. I personally. So yeah, Cadman and Baron, if you want to move yourselves wherever you wish to be in this, whether or not you're staying on the veranda to watch what happens downstairs or going in with Renwick.
No, I'm
you can.
going in because I'm concerned she's died and I have Revivify as a spell. So
Yes, absolutely. Okie dokie.
I don't know what Cadman's doing, but
That's okay. So you're the cleric and
Yeah.
he's the druid.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Neither of you are paladins. Gotcha. Right. Okay.
We ascertained that earlier. There's not a paladin in the party.
Baron, you go rushing after Renwick. He's thrown open the door. The first thing you see in this room is that it does look like there was a small tornado in here. Things have been just brushed around. There's papers everywhere and vases and shit, ornaments that have been knocked off shelves. Nothing looks like it's been properly rifled through, just looks like a general, something's come in, swiped stuff off the sides and such. You see an older woman lying in the bed in here. Let me see if I can get her. Oh no, that was stupid. Sorry guys, I've just managed to click on a button and now completely come off Roll20. Nice. Wow.
Hey, Ben, right. Kyle, could you take over doing the Paladin cleric druid duties? I'm gonna have to fix some cameras.
Yeah.
So funny. That's fine. I'm gonna just show everybody a picture of Lady Renwick. You're right, Ben.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Apologies for the time.
Terrible. You're an awful human being. It's okay. We forgive you.
Oh, it's a dog this time. It's just a
Yeah.
dog. It's just a dog.
Just a dog. Just a dog. Right, show to players.
Just
There you go. This is
Very
the lady that Beren and I'm assuming Cadman then, if Cadman's following. Yeah?
I got told to stay out there, and I stay with
Yes.
Renwick.
Yeah, but it's up
Yeah.
to you whether or not you follow into the room or not.
Yeah, I'll go into the room.
I mean, I'm not forcing you. I'm just ascertaining where you are.
Right, the druid and the cleric will go see the old lady.
Okay. You see in this laying in the bed is an elderly woman. Obviously, you can see her picture on there. And Renwick is, or rather, I should say, Edgar is sort of checking her over. He seems to be in a bit of a tizzy, and he says to her, Eugenie, are you okay? What happened? Did they do anything? And you can see that she's struggling to talk. She doesn't look physically harmed. There's no cuts or anything like, unlike yourselves who may have been attacked by this creature, or the creatures, I should say. You have got like wounds, although their claws were going through you. That there was like a the skin split where it once was, almost like a delay, almost. But she doesn't seem to have any of these kind of wounds on her. She does look very shaken, very pale, very unwell. But probably you wouldn't know whether that's knowing that she's a not well lady anyway, whether that was pre-existing or to do with potentially anything that's come in here. Yeah. I'm just going to leave that there just for a moment. Andy, have you sorted everybody back to...
I've still
doing
got
it?
a couple to do.
Okay. Let's go downstairs for the moment, and deal with this. Let's get rid of that for a second because it's in my way. Darrell and Raphy. Raphy, you're looking super beat up. Just like dripping with blood.
I didn't I'd forgotten he's so beat up. I thought he was better.
Just all kinds of ribbons. But he's you both race downstairs. Do either of you have any form of healing or anything like that you want to apply, or do you want to make me a medicine check to see if you can try and stabilize?
I've got a first aid kit, healer's pack.
Okay.
I'm currently unscrewing a jar of ointment that smells slightly of aloe.
Aloe. Okay. You can see that she's got a huge slash mark across her, sort of across from her shoulder all the way down across her chest. Just it's freely bleeding out. I want you both to make me a medicine check anyway, just for reasons.
Oh dear.
Oh, she's dead. There we go, Raphy. She's only been hit once, but it's completely taken her out. You see that she's breathing and she's wincing. You think that, like, since being upstairs and coming down, she's looking a little better. And as you're sort of inspecting her and bringing out this aloe, you can see that her hand is kind of like to her chest and there's a glow. And it looks like she's healing herself. But she definitely needs the help, for sure. She's not doing well at all. Do you apply this?
So I'm going to notice that Darrell's got the first aid kit and go,
okay.
I'm going to put this on. It's something that we use all the time in training. It's going to help, but only a little bit. If you want to bandage her up as well, make sure it's all good. And then I'm going to turn to her and go, Miss, you okay?
Yeah. Oh, my head. My chest.
Right.
Everything's hurt.
We can do something to help you.
Okay.
Am I okay to do some medicine-y stuff?
Yeah, please. I'm dying.
Sweet. Okay. And I'm just going to start smearing this ointment onto the scratches.
Perfect. Yeah, you start applying this stuff. She kind of, she's clearly weak, and she kind of allows you to do that.
She get 5 hit points back.
She gets 5 hit points. Brilliant. Okay.
I've marked off use of that as well. So.
I didn't add her bloody hit points in to begin with, but yeah, perfect. Darrell, did you have something that you were doing, or is it just a medicine thing?
It's a first aid kit. All that really does is stabilise them if they're on death's door. So seeing that she's actually healing herself and Raphy's off to something, I don't think he'd go, no, I'll put that band-aid back in the pack.
Yeah. To be fair, like, you can help a lot. I won't say that you've used up a use of the first aid kit.
Yeah.
I'll just say for the props of it,
Yeah.
you do aid her feeling a little bit better, being able to sit up and staunch some of the bleeding before her magical healing can take effect, and whatever it is, the stuff that Raphy has put on her can start taking effect and things like that. And she says, wow. Well, Edgar and Eugenie, are they okay?
They're upstairs at the moment. The rest of us who came to visit are currently up there looking after her. I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
I'll look at Remy and nod to go and have a look.
Yeah, sure. Remy goes and flies up. The door's open. He can go in just fine. She says, "Oh God, I think it was my fault. I think I dropped one of the vases. It burned me." And she says it burned me. You can see her hand is like blistered, and like there's red scorch marks across it. The crates that when you first came in that were being transported from Egypt, from Esna, you could see that she'd been in the process of unpacking it. And there's a water carrier type of oh God, there's a name for it, but it's like a pot, a jar for liquids, usually oils or waters and things like that was sealed, but is now on the floor and broken in bits. And she's she looks like she's quite worried that she may have caused this. Let's go to Darrell quick. Liam quick.
I want to check 2 things. First things at dusk. Make sure she's all right now.
Yeah. She flies up to you. Your little healing spirit, they kind of dance around each other for a little bit until she was fully healed in the first lot. She doesn't have a lot of hit points. And she sort of lands back on your shoulder, and she goes, "That was very scary. What are we doing here?"
I don't know. Did you recognize them at all?
The monsters?
Yeah.
Nothing like I've ever seen before.
Well, we don't know what's going on yet.
This is a bad place.
Make a test for those creatures.
For the I think probably everybody can give me a Arcana or religion check to figure out what these things were.
Arcana
the
religion.
The DC will be quite high.
As each other.
Oh, I rolled terribly.
I'm going to go with Arcana because it's probably the closest.
There we go. Perfect. Nice.
Oh. Well, Roger me sideways.
Not a. You said that I didn't recognize it as a spirit because of my backstory.
Yes, so you know it's not a spirit. It's not an undead, you believe.
Okay, so the history won't want help from them.
Yeah, no. No, you can roll history.
So she doesn't recognise anything. She says that she.
I'm not going to roll for her because I don't believe that she would have encountered these things before. She kind of flutters off over, like does a little ring round the room, the books, and she goes, "Awful lot of books. I wonder what he's all researching." And is there anything else that you want to do?
I'm standing where one of these creatures was that died.
Yeah.
I know it kind of dissipated, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like a little pool of shadow.
Is there something left there then?
Yes, that little pool of shadow is fine, but it seems to be dissipating. The more and more you see, like the light coming through the window seems to be burning it away almost.
Okay. I don't know whether I can do anything like this because it's dead. It did have a hunter's mark on it. What's left of it? Try to ascertain, like where it might kind of track where it's come from, or kind of.
I think your Arcana check. So this information that I'm going to give you now, obviously Ben, Raphy, and I'm going to say Beren knows this. The 18 was the mark that I was looking for. These creatures, as you were fighting, being the level that you guys are now, you know that when things are hit by radiant and they react to it in the way that these creatures were, they're often undead or fiends. Now, we know from various people in the group that it's not undead. So it is a fiend.
Right.
These things are fiends of some kind. And now you start to recognize it. There is a very faint whiff. It's not quite sulfur, which is strange. Something a little bit more like the smell of an old tomb. Dust and ash and things like that, rather than that eggy, sulfury smell. But it's not something that you feel you can track. Okay. Fiends shouldn't exist on our plane of existence.
Yeah.
On the mundane realm, there is wards against celestials and fiends being. So them just being in the house, in the room, is quite a surprise.
They can still be summoned, I presume, though. Can they? Or...
When they're summoned, they are summoned into a host.
Right.
So they will take a host, which you saw this smoke trying to enter people's bodies and things like that. They were trying to find a host, basically. Yeah. So you could probably ascertain from that they are very likely out trying to find hosts right now.
Yeah. When you say fiends as well, what in your world are fiends? Something from the abyss or any of the lower planes?
Basically,
or any extra planar evil.
Specifically hells.
Hell, right.
Yeah.
Hells.
So different religions have different interpretations of what hell is, and different afterlives and things like that. In the kind of like negative way. Fiends can be all different types. So like in a Christian sense, they would be like mostly horned and spiky tail and red skin and those sort of things, whereas other religions might interpret those slightly differently.
Yeah. Okay.
And all of them count as fiends, basically. Raphy, your natural 20, you feel like when you almost have a memory of seeing something quite similar a long time ago, and you feel that if you took 5 minutes just to meditate on what this memory is, you could probably figure out a little bit more, figure out where you feel that this is familiar to you.
Okay. I want to turn to...
After I just quickly,
Yeah.
just to say, after I've done those two things, I'm heading up the stairs to follow where the other lot went.
Yeah.
Where the rest of the group went.
All right. You come up this way. You
And
see
I'll
the
take-
open doors.
yeah. I'll say
put you over
Dusk.
Yeah. She follows.
Come on,
after you.
Dusk.
I'm following.
I will turn to Daria and Darrell. I'm just going to check if there's any more of these things. I
Can
don't know
I
if they're
see-
all left.
From where I am there, can I see them three downstairs?
Yeah. You can see them having that conversation down there.
And I've still got all my form and stuff up, and I'm just going to start moving around the house.
Okay. I mean, you can move your token and move around the house. Is this your form of just letting your mind wander, or are you just looking for something? Or
I'm looking for signs of them because I don't know if they've gone yet. I know
Gotcha.
that some of them fled. I don't know if all of them fled.
Yep, absolutely. You start doing that. That's going to take a little while, but basically, you can make me. This is probably an investigation check to take a good look around all parts of the house. Hendrix.
Yeah, I don't see fuck all.
Your mind is elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hendrix, let's see what you're doing in this scene. Obviously, everybody has come up the stairs. There's a little bit of time before they get there.
Can I first of all ask, where does Hendrix feel most at home?
Oh yes, Hendrix has to answer that. Ben, you're muted. I don't know if you're actually there or not. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, cool. That's all right. First of all, because you missed, and I'm not letting you off, the question at the beginning of the session, where does Hendrix feel most at home?
Okay,
Most
so
comfortable?
I guess Hendrix feels most at home with his pack, and that's obviously the one thing that he doesn't have anymore. So he sometimes kind of feels of belonging when he's with the goblins of the Scarsridge crew on their capers, or if he's with other friends or people he works with. But it's kind of fleeting in comparison to the longing that he always feels. And I guess the longing always eventually takes him back to John's house, which is now sort of standing empty. So, and that's the only place where he ever kind of felt like he belonged.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Oh, poor
So
Hendrix.
sad.
So sad.
Yeah. Poor little doggy.
Poor Pooch. What does Hendrix do between, well, either just before or just as these people have come rushing up the stairs? You're currently hidden underneath the table, and you're hidden quite well, so you could have stayed hidden, or you can come out and start doing stuff.
Okay, so we kind of discussed at the end of last session, after we stopped recording, or whenever it was, or over text or something, that I could I've had a go at finding out something about that big bad
evil thing
that rose up and locked eyes with him. Did we say it was insight?
Yes, it would be insight now, because I did suggest Arcana, but with the Arcana roll you've just rolled, I've kind of just told you what I would have told you anyway. So I'll allow you to do an insight check, because you're the only one that had contact with it that wasn't unconscious.
Okay.
Okay. This thing, when it rose just above the parapet, I don't think it did actually lock eyes with you, because obviously then it would have seen you. I think its eyes had brushed over you, but its with that terrifying glare that didn't quite match where your location was, but knew that there was perhaps something there that it was searching for. Saw the window, and you saw the decision that it made, almost like it was, this place wasn't worth its time anymore, and it was going to leave. There's not much that I think.
Did it seem like it was being communicated with, like that one of the others had told it something, or and then that influenced its decision?
You do get the sense that it's they do seem to be communicating with each other. I'll say that they do have
because there was all that crazy whispering and everything as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, so that crazy whispering actually wasn't the thing that makes you think that they were communicating. That seemed more like an effect that was trying to scare or infiltrate their enemies. Okay. But their unanimous decision to suddenly leave the house came after he screeched once, and they had already started gearing up towards leaving by that point.
Okay.
So he or it had left, probably because of the information that they were sharing psychically between them about what was in the house. And
do I remember? Sorry, just because do I remember you saying that it seemed like they got whatever it was that they wanted, and then they were leaving?
I'd say you just about know that this thing didn't seem like it needed to linger any longer. There was something that it gained from being here, whether it was information or an item or something. It left without regret that it was that it might be leaving something behind. It wasn't fleeing. No, it wasn't scared at all. That's definitely something you can gather from that. Was not fleeing the situation. Didn't feel like it needed to be urgently anywhere else. It completed its task, whatever it is that it needed to do, and then left.
And it was the sense that something had communicated and said that whatever its task was had been completed. Like the minions had completed a task, rather than whatever it was doing over the woman.
So you know that they. I'll let you know that they can communicate with each other, whether or not it was one of them that completed it or he completed it or whatever. Unfortunately, 18's not going to get you any more information than that, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But yes, so other than that, what does Hendrix do? Does he come out from under the chair, or does he stay there forever?
I think after a minute, when other people start to turn up, I think he makes his way out. Can I just, I guess I want to just investigate, have a little sniff around and see if I can work out what it is that they got from being here.
Okay, you can join Raphy, not physically, but just in the sense that you're both doing investigations on the house. If you just roll me an investigation check for me. And that's going to take you a little while, so I'm going to quickly switch back to the Renwicks. So, in this room with Lord and Lady Renwick, those who are there can see that he gets her to a point where she's calmed down a bit, and has propped her up with some pillars and things like that. She is unharmed. She doesn't seem to have lost any, in a mechanical sense, hit points. the way when he talks to her and the way she's acknowledging him and trying to talk to him, it's very like staggered and like she's really struggling to communicate anything. She also, her eyes don't seem to be finding his. When she's talking, her eyes are sort of like scanning back and forth, and you realize after a few minutes she can't see. She's blind. This isn't something that seems to be worrying Edgar particularly. It seems that this is probably how she is. Yeah, how she is normally. So, she calms down a little bit, and she very weakly says, "Is Daria all right?" And Edgar looks up at you guys, and is like, "Oh, my assistant was downstairs." And sort of like,
I should say, some of my companions went and checked on her.
He turns back to her and he says, "I'm sure she's fine. She must be fine. We'll go down and check in a minute. You need to rest." And she kind of nods and almost immediately kind of rests her head back onto the pillow, and sort of instantly drifts sort of back into this restless sleep almost. He looks towards you two in the room and says, "I'm ever so sorry. I don't know what happened. This never happened before, in this house. Perhaps we should go and find Daria, now that I know that Eugenie is safe. I fear now more than ever that I might need to ask you for your commitment to this, finding this spring. Let us go speak with your companions." And he starts sort of making his way back out of the room. Is there anything that you two want to do or say, or?
I'm
just checking on something.
Yeah, sure.
Just an aside, I will have told Daria by now that the mimics are okay.
Yes, brilliant. Yeah, she seems to be sort of like she's healing herself properly now that she's up and sort of stable. She's sort of sat up onto a bench close by the sort of this sort of area. You're gonna have to use your imagination that there's loads of boxes around her at the moment. And she kind of looking up into the kind of, you can hear the conversation, half hear the conversation of what's happening upstairs, and she seems relieved that nobody is hurt.
Upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
you said that with that religion 18 check I got, I'm aware these things are capable of possession.
Yes.
Right. I want to use my divine sense to see if this lady is possessed.
Okay. What is the radius on your divine sense?
60 feet.
6
So,
foot.
as an action, you can take good or evil. Until the end of your next turn, you can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
Yeah. Oh, that's not behind total cover. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know that in this room, was it celestial fiend or undead?
Yes.
There is no celestial fiends or undead.
Okay.
You get a very mild ping from Cadman, but no particular
Type.
yeah, no particular type, and it's very weak, but it's still something.
Okay.
But it's not fiendish or undead. It's more along the lines of celestial.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That'll be everything. You I suppose because this door's open actually. You do sense undead on Liam, who's right there.
Okay. Well, I shall glance first at Cadman and then at Liam. There are clearly stories there, but I shall leave it at that point.
Okie dokie. Yeah, she does not seem possessed. He does not seem possessed. How long does that last for? Is it a minute or like 10 minutes?
No, much shorter.
Or is it just instant?
I think it's to the end of your next turn.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, end of your next turn. So seconds.
Oh gosh. If you wish, you can, within that 6 seconds, you could have gone from this room to out here and catch the people downstairs too.
I will do, because I'd like to check Daria.
Yeah, she's not possessed.
Okay,
so that is that's pretty much everyone except Raphy. So I think you're quite confident that nobody here is possessed. Yeah. What do you all do in this situation now?
Once I'm happy that there isn't anything else here that I can see.
Yeah.
So I would have gone out the back and checked around. I'll drop the visage and the arms, etc.
Yeah.
And I'll just start walking back towards everyone, looking like me.
Looking like you, right? Yep. You return back, sort of probably downstairs where Daria is. Hendrix, you.
Oh, cat attack!
Oh God, being attacked by the cat.
Every time.
He's being attacked again.
Woo.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
That should not have made me laugh as much as it did.
No.
But it did. Hendrix, you do end up downstairs with your investigation check. You're sort of like sniffing all around the house. Obviously, wherever you go, a lot of doors, but you have a way of opening those. So, most I don't think there's any that are actually locked doors. You go in most of these rooms. Apart from where I'm about to describe now, I don't think there's any sort of surprises in the house at all. You do see a lot of, and Raphy, you can know this as well because this is just general all around the house. This house was clearly used or created for either a much bigger family or for, the use of probably a group of people. It seems to be just the 3 of them in the house currently. There does seem to be a whole wing over here on I've just pinged upstairs and downstairs here that is all just like single bedrooms and things like that, where presumably maybe they were servants' quarters or even it could have been a B&B. You don't really know, but they clearly have not been lived in for a very long time. Hendrix, when you get downstairs, you I'm going to remove this turn order because it's getting in my way. You're sniffing around the pots area and the big crates that have been brought in from Egypt. There's a lot of pieces in there. You see the pieces of this like water urn type or holder of some kind, clay pot that Daria had obviously dropped onto the floor. The pieces of it, very ornate, beautiful details on them, clearly very old, very ancient.
Mhm.
And as you're sort of sniffing around them, and you can smell this old, ashy, yeah, fuck off, smell. You flip over a piece with your nose, and on the bottom of this vase, this container, is a like scratched in sigil, which I'll show to you now. Did that work? No?
I can't see anything.
Didn't come up to me.
Hey, did that...
There we go.
Cool. Got there eventually.
Illuminati.
Illuminati. You see this symbol on the bottom, and anybody down there, so Darrell and Raphy, you can both see this now. Darrell is busy patching herself up still. It's going to take a little while because she's quite weak.
Is it now in our?
No, I've not put it in. I think because it has the name of what it is on there.
Could you could you reshare it? Sorry, I closed it by accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just make sure that it's not. Oh no, it doesn't say anything on it. I can share it with you. There you go. It just says room. It's perfect. Find this room on there. Okay. Yeah. So over the next couple of minutes, Edgar comes downstairs. He chats with Daria, sort of hugs her, makes sure that she's okay. She starts to get upset and is saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to drop it. I didn't realise there was going to be anything in it, let alone those creatures." And he's sort of like, "No, don't worry about it, dear. You couldn't have known." And they're sort of comforting each other, sort of relay that Eugenie's fine, as fine as she can be at the moment. And Edgar...
Are we all together now, or are we
Yes,
still...
I'll say you're all together now. I'll actually, unless anybody wants to do anything specific on this map, I'll move you over to the start page.
Yeah, I did want to have a chat with Darrell. Well, two things. One, at some point, I will have opened a leather bag that I was carrying with me.
Yeah.
And 10 ball berries would just drop into the bag. And I do it back up and stick it in my pocket.
You replace the barbarians, gotcha.
Yeah. I said, sorry, obviously you and Lord Redwick are magic users. Have you not checked any of these artifacts for magic?
Well,
if you think that they were in there must have been some magic.
Yes. We assumed that our contact from the site in Egypt had checked these. We knew that they were magical, but not that they contained anything. Perhaps that was part of the enchantment over them. We got them specifically because they were magical. They were supposed to be, oh gosh, this is terrible. They were supposed to be the containers, so that when the group, whether it's yourselves or whoever it is that we can hire, goes to the place with the healing pool, they can collect the water. We found that it doesn't work if you just use mundane water holding items. Like, I know we didn't think about it. We just used a thermos before because that just made sense to us. You transport water in, but apparently it needs to be some kind of magical container, which now we've lost because it had something in it that we weren't aware of.
Are you sure that you had? Are you sure that it had something in it? Are you sure that these things came from that? I'm sure.
I don't know 100%. I suppose.
Darrell would not. Look at Darrell. Would you not know?
Well,
he'd be able to tell.
I'm going to cast Detect Magic. I'm pretty much on more of the other stuff rather than that, because I'm guessing that if there was any spell on it, it's not active anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Detect Magic won't work. But I'm going to cast it as a ritual because I haven't actually memorised it as a
You got
spell.
any way of picking up any residual traces or anything to ascertain whether there was, or any arcane knowledge to know whether there was something inside this?
I'll include those in my Detect Magic search
Yeah.
to see if I pick anything up.
Raphy mutters under his breath, "Assumption makes an ass of you and me."
Edgar helps the check with Darrell. Edgar seems to be quite knowledgeable. His whole thing is to, he explains as he's helping you sort of detect any residual magic going through the arcane knowledges that you might both share, so you can make a check with advantage for the arcane side of things. The detect magic will obviously be automatic. He explains that his whole thing is appraising magical items. That's his bag essentially, which is why he was getting some things from.
So I don't have advantage.
That's right. Yeah.
Whilst you are checking all that stuff, it's going to take a few minutes. Yeah, I'm going to put the kettle on. I think we could all do with a brew. And then when I'm making in the kitchen making the cup of tea, I'll start having a trawl through my memories.
Perfect. You go off to the kitchen, which I don't know where is on this map. Is there a kitchen?
Yeah, that's like a kitchen there.
Yeah.
Where's that? Oh yes. Yeah, there you go. So you only go into the next room, which is perfect. There's a little stool in there. The kettle is like one of those stovetop ones rather than a clicky button ones. Everything's quite
old.
Yeah, old but in good nick mostly. None of it's broken. It's just worn, well used. And you stick it on the stove, wait for it to start whistling, and the sound of the bubbling. You sit down and you take a moment to reflect on some of these memories. And as you're sitting there thinking about what it is that reminded you of these creatures, you start to get a flood of memories. A moment here, a flash there, the sounds of screaming and the feel of burning wounds on your body that you haven't had for a long time. You look down at your hands in this memory and they're shaking and covered in blood, and your jewelry is caked with viscera, and you look up in this darkened space and see these wispy creatures flying all around. You can feel to the side of you a comrade with a spear attacking, somebody else to the side of you weaving some kind of abjurative magic, shunting these things away from you, casting light and radiant spells. And you remember hell. You remember the moments when you had walked past that rift. You'd walked the veil between that world. And the name comes to you in that place and that place only. Jinn. These were Jinn. Specifically, so I put them down there, sorry. Sorry. I haven't got the name of them. Da, da, da.
Bob and Steve.
Yeah, Bob. And my computer's decided to be very slow, just at the wrong moment, of course. Ifrit. Ifrit.
I know they're fire, aren't they?
So Ifrit, spell that again.
Ifrit. Ifrit.
And that's the creatures with the 4 arms.
Four arms, wispy body, sort of white eyes that draw you in. They are because the Nat 20 was to identify them. I'm not going to tell you much else about them because I want you to do a little bit more research on them. Okay.
No worries.
But that's, I mean, I wasn't expecting you to even know that they were a free at this point. So,
Okay.
Cool. You remember going past that realm and the horror of that place. And as soon as you remember the name Ifrit and Jinn, you've got what you needed, and your mind starts to pull away from that painful memory. And as it comes away, it goes through all the other memories, and you feel this disconnect as you feel certain sparks of memories from all different lives, and suddenly you're back in to your own body, and you kind of shake your head a little bit. It's a bit disorientating for the next sort of minute or so. You're going to feel a little bit dissociated, and the kettle starts to sort of whistle on the stove.
I'll get a tray ready with the kettle, with the teapot, and then I'll carry it to wherever everybody else is. I assume that took about 10 minutes.
It's going to take about 10 minutes, yeah. So you're doing that. Have I missed anything?
Yes, I'd like to do something if possible.
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
If anyone's left, my lady has. How many different people have tried healing you, and in what ways?
You're talking to Daria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
She looks
assistant or
up.
the wife?
Daria's downstairs. The assistant.
No, the older lady.
The
Oh,
wife.
the older.
The room.
Oh, Eugenie. Okay, sorry. So she doesn't seem to be able to. She acknowledges your presence. Sort of as you go up to the bed to speak to her, she looks. Oh, I say she looks. Her face turns towards you, and you can see her eyes are tracing as she's trying to listen to what you're saying and trying to communicate. A very shaky hand sort of reaches out and will, if you allow her to, take your hand.
Yep.
And she kind of pats it gently, and sort of very weakly smiles. She doesn't quite respond.
Is Lord Renwick still there?
Lord Renwick has gone back downstairs to talk to Daria.
Okay. Bear in mind,
I will ask her permission to try a spell. Sorry.
Yeah. You say, do you mind if I try something? She sort of takes a moment and then gently nods her head, and allows you to do whatever you're going to do.
I will cast a remove curse to see if that helps. Probably won't, but
okay.
I'll still try.
You do this remove curse. Make me a medicine check with advantage because of the spell. Andy, what were you saying?
So I've gone with Lord Renwick. Baron's gone with Lord Renwick.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So I'll just.
I was just working out. I'm not witnessing this.
Yes, yeah. I think Remy's still upstairs though, isn't he?
Yeah,
So-
no, I am checking in with him.
Yeah. So you can see this interaction, all bits of it. Okay.
That's not great.
Basically, she feels the spell wash over her, and there's almost like a look of anticipation on her face, and then she sighs and shakes her head and smiles, and then pats you again on the hand. Doesn't seem to have done anything.
I'm sorry
but
to
she
disturb
seems-
you. I'm sorry that it did not work.
She nods, and then she seems quite tired, so she keeps sort of slowly drifting off a little bit.
I will leave you to your rest.
Okay, and then Cadman, you leave, and it's just obviously Remy in the room. Let's go around some of the people that haven't had a go in a little while. See if there's anything else that anybody wants to do. I think by this time Raphy has come out with a tray of tea for everybody. Renwick seems quite eager to have a cup, and Daria takes one as well. So if anybody wants to do anything.
So was there a result from the Arcana check I made?
Gotcha. There we go. I knew I
Yeah,
was something.
we were kind of querying down that route, weren't we?
Yes. So
Darrell was asking them, and
this was the what the sigil was. Is that right?
Yeah, just generally, looking at the stuff and trying to see if there was. I think it was after there's a residue of whatever magic had been
Was on there.
was on there holding the.
Gotcha.
and to ascertain if there was something in there, or if it was just coincidence and we're barking up the wrong tree.
Gotcha.
Because we haven't seen it, have we? We've only got Daria's word for saying, "Oh, I think I might have done it."
Yeah.
Sorry, just say related to that, but I'm looking around to see if there's a manifest listing all of the items.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. As part of all of these checks that have been happening, I'll say, and because Renwick and Daria are like right there, they're happy enough to show you guys there's a manifest just with the box. It's just like a printed out piece of paper that had been tucked down the side, and she'd been sort of like referring to it as she's unloading this stuff. Darrell, you extend your senses with this spell to try and ping anything magical. There are a lot of magical things, obviously, going on in this room, mostly because of the people here and items that they might be carrying. Apart from that, with everyone else, Renwick seems to have a couple of magic items on him. Daria seems to have a couple of magic items on her. You look at the artifacts around the room, they're mostly not empowered at all. And as you sort of like having a proper look at them, you see that they're partial pieces. So they might have once been magical, or even they're just historic. They're no longer magical, they're broken, they've been disenchanted for XYZ reasons. And he just seems to be a collector of these things. To do with the box, the crate of things, there's a couple more ornaments and pieces of I'd say probably like clay pieces mostly. None of them are appearing as magical in any way. I'd say because you guys have done this quite quickly, there is a residue from this pot that had been smashed. Unfortunately, it's not an identify spell, so it can't tell you what it does, but there was obviously something magical on this.
I do get to pick up the School of Magic that.
Okay, So it would be abjurative, I imagine. Something to protect.
Yeah.
And I'll say, with the Arcana check you've done, the symbol does seem to be celestial in nature, in the sense of like religious magic rather than arcane magic.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Cool. And you could probably ascertain from that Arcana check that it's a ward,
Yeah.
a seal of some
So
kind.
it does, although I can't be sure, I'm fairly confident that may well have been trapped in this
Okay,
this
cool.
vessel.
Okay. So we can fairly safely stick to that then, that these things were in there. Can we then work out from the manifest and your knowledge is what they could have been, like their
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to do. So having picked up the manifest and start reading through it, is there some sort of ID number stamped on the box, and what's it say is in the manifest?
The manifest simply states that it's a jar from, along with, found in a tomb that had previously been unopened. The person who had found it was of the Mage Society, so knew Renwick and had contacted him, obviously, to kind of sell him this item or this thing. It doesn't state on there that they thought it contained anything. The only thing it does state on there that it was definitely magical. Magical piece
whose
of a
tomb?
historic nature.
Was it found?
They
Have you got the name of the tomb? The person whose tomb it was? Or...
Oh, that is a question. Would they know? I'd say they don't know. They don't know who it is. They're still out there on the site,
right,
doing their own like archaeological investigations on this area. But Renwick tells you that they've only been at this site for about 2 months, and a lot of that time is spent getting permission to be out there, for one, and doing what they're doing under the guise of being a mundane expedition for archaeological things, and then having their own people go over there that are actually magically inclined, that can... They try to get, in most archaeological situations, the mages, mage society all around the world, depending on which country it's in, tends to like to be there first, to go, is anything here magical? No, let the mundanes have it. Whereas obviously this time round they've discovered this magical item, and Renwick tells you, and Darrell backs him up, he is one of the people that are the foremost authority, I suppose, is the only way that he knows a lot about this stuff, and a lot of mages will come to him for answers and to identify things and things like that.
And sorry, is it the implication is it's ancient Egyptian stuff? Is that correct?
Yes, seems to be ancient Egyptian.
Is the word canopic anywhere in the manifest?
I have to remind me what the word canopic means.
Canopic jars. That's the jars that are used specifically when you mummify someone.
Oh, I see.
The bits that you pour the organs in.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. This is something else.
Okay, so it's just described. The word canopic is not used in the description.
No.
Okay.
I think actually now, but thinking about it, there is a mention on the manifest that from some of the symbols, it looks to be There's a mention that they think that it might have something to do with Solomon. So Solomon, Solomon, King Solomon.
Right.
But that's all I can tell you from that.
Can I study the symbol?
Yep.
And see if I can ascertain anything further.
You could do me a history check.
History.
Yeah. History. Well, history or Arcana. Well, you've done it.
Oh no. I'm not doing Arcana.
Okay, fair. I think you kind of gathered the same things.
Okay.
So I suppose, knowing that it's the name Solomon coming into it, there's nothing more that you can get from this symbol that is going to be relevant to you, but it does make you think that, well, there's lots of books out there about Solomon because he was, well documented. And you remember that he did have a lot to do with creating spells and things like that to trap demons. That was his thing. Was that he would cage them, essentially. Anything further is likely to be found in a book or on the internet or from very, very old people that were there at the time. Okay. Anything else from anybody else? Have I covered everyone, or have I left anything out?
I think Hendrix's only priority now is to go into that kitchen and steal the ham and the sausages and the bread and jam that are casually laying around on those countertops.
Okay. You can do that.
Yeah.
You go in there. There's like just bits, like picnic bits.
Nice.
Yeah. Just laid out. Obviously, their afternoon tea has been long forgotten. A couple of stale scones. A little bit.
Can I just?
As long as those sausages are in the frying pan, there, I'm having them.
Really? Are there sausages there? God damn it!
Can I suggest
there.
Over the course of the campaign that Hendrix gradually puts on weight?
Yeah,
and
I'm
has
gonna
dexterity.
His dexterity goes, but his constitution just goes way up.
As it becomes a very plump dog.
I love
Excuse
it.
me, I just went tearing across the house.
Yeah, that's true. Burning off that.
Yeah, you tell yourself that, Dubs.
that calories.
Stop worrying when he gets squirms.
Oh.
Just doing that scoot across the floor.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, so, for God's sake, I've just come out of the game again. Are you serious?
I did that 3 times last week.
Seriously. It's because on the side of my mouse, I've got these little keys, and I keep accidentally pressing them, and it makes me go back a page. Both of them. One makes me go forward and stupid.
So, Bea, sorry, as part of the investigation that Hendrix did, found that sigil or rune or whatever it was.
Yep.
But he was sort of specifically looking for anything that might have linked to what they what the creatures found. Does that? I presume that this was just an aside to that. So does that mean he didn't find anything else?
You didn't find anything else, I'm afraid.
Okay.
You do see that a lot of the house has been rifled through. Where they came in, they were almost like little mini whirlwinds. Everywhere they went, things just fell off the sides. Almost like there was a wind around them. So when, like in Lady Eugenie's room, all of her stuff was everywhere. That is kind of the theme across the house. In this room specifically, where everyone's chatting now, where Daria's patched herself up and everyone's gathered to talk, you can see all the stuff that was on the side, or not all of it, just some of it, the lighter stuff has come off the sides. So you get the idea that this ripping things off the side isn't actually intentional. They weren't rifling through actual objects looking for something,
No.
which perhaps is a clue in itself. So there doesn't seem to be anything that's been physically moved that they seem to be particularly interested in. Everything's just been chaotically thrown around.
Whilst we are stood there, does Raphy look ill?
I mean,
hit points are hit points, aren't they? They're kind of.
He looks a bit battered. There is still some smudges of blood from his nose and eyes, which he's wiped, but he hasn't got rid of.
Whilst we're stood there, then just sipping tea, I'll drop a healing spirit on him on this space where he's standing.
Okay.
Oh, cheers, boss.
What's it take the form of?
Same as before.
Okay, so so I like dusk is on one shoulder, and then another sort of like bluish coloured dusk appears on the other one, and flies off towards you, Raphy, and then just does that kind of Zelda walks into a fairy potion thing around you, and as you stay there, the longer you staying there,
that's a minute, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, so you can probably heal right up, I think, with that.
D6 around.
The D6 around, so 10 D6.
Just roll 10 D6, or average is 35.
I'll say 35 on. That'll be easier.
That's easy. Yeah. So, well, it doesn't get you right up, but like it's, you are feeling significantly better.
Yeah. Cheers, boss.
I shall take a mug of tea from the stuff that Raphy's brought round, and I make mine very strong builder's tea. So and then I take a sip of it and comment almost to myself, you kind of missed the bromide.
Darrell opens his hip flask and pours a measure of whiskey into his.
I love it.
I'll put my cup next to over in the Darrell's die. You action. Hey, can I have a swig of that, please, lad?
It's Scotch, not Irish, but yeah, fine.
It's all the same to me, brother.
An Irishman who doesn't care about whiskey and whiskey? That's not right.
Jesus Christ.
Don't metagame it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Raphy saying it.
Yeah.
I'm then going to say to Lord Renwick, you obviously have an extensive library. Do you have anything, my lord, on the magic of King Solomon?
Specifically Ifrit, if you got it.
Ifrit.
Yeah, those things were Ifrit. Jinn.
Really?
Specifically fire. The elements of fire. If the stories are right.
I'll let you assume that. That's fine.
We don't know how that's spelt, do we? He's only said Ifrit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's.
But that would be metagaming, We don't,
Yeah.
I'm sure I have a few, but I also have a Quran. That could also help. They're mentioned quite a bit in that.
Mm-hmm. Is it an old? Well, actually, it doesn't matter if it's old on you.
I have several copies of quite a lot of books. You're more than welcome. You're all more than welcome to use the library. Usually, it's by a boon. I think I owe you a great deal. You have free range on my library as it stands. Thank you all so much. I feel terrible for having to ask you for this. I need to know whether or not you will accept this mission to go to this this bubble realm. You're very capable, and the last group they refuse. Well, understandably so. They won't go, but
I don't think you got to the end of the story with it, did you, boy?
well, we were rudely interrupted by
I know. I'm
Ifrit,
not.
apparently.
I'm only saying that maybe now's a good time to carry on.
Well, my wife, as some of you have seen, is not well. She's been sick for some time. I myself am a cleric, and I know lots of clerics, and we have tried everything, truly everything. Nothing seems to be fixing this ailment. She.
Sorry to interrupt. He said he's a cleric.
Mhm.
Is there any sign of a holy symbol on him of some kind to identify what he's a cleric of?
Make me a perception check. Okay. He doesn't seem to be carrying, like, he doesn't have any sort of religious iconography on him. But as you're in this room, up on, like,
Sorry, which room
place-
which room we in?
you're in this room.
We're still in the hallway. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you're all sort of standing in the hallway chatting. It's a big hallway. It's quite comfortable there. Up on, like, little bits around the room that aren't just shelves of stuff, you do see the occasional. What would it be a symbol of? I don't think it actually has a symbol. Hang on. We'll find out now.
Come back to it if it's complicated.
Um,
And carry on with him telling his tale.
you could always ask him.
I was trying to not be rude.
Yeah. Okay. No, because I want to know now. Very, very quickly. Okie dokie. So, you see some Celtic designs. Bits of knotwork and things like that. Something that looks like a if you know what a triscale is,
I don't.
which is the three
Lines.
three swirls around each other and things
Okay,
like that.
I didn't know it was called.
There's also like a weaved 4 square with points coming off of it, almost like a star, but it's only 4 squares, 4 corners rather, and a it looks like either it looks like an anvil with markings on it. That are like that symbol itself, the whole symbol, just seems to be placed around the house in different areas now. You've been around parts of it. In the library itself, actually, seems to be quite a few of those pieces of Celtic.
Can I identify
icons and
what
things like
god that is? Or...
that. You can make me a religion check.
And I
You
don't identify
you have
it.
no idea. You've got no fucking clue. But yeah, he explains that he's asked some of the other clerics that he knows. He himself, he says, I currently, I'm not working, not since Eugenie became unwell, but previously I was working at St. Swithin's, which is the clerics like college. All religions can go there essentially to learn their clerical abilities. In Britain, it's the place to go to learn it. You can learn them by yourself as well, but this is just like a bit more prestigious place. Generally, if you're going to be on the council, those sort of things, old mage families will go to the same establishments, things like that. This is one of those establishments. And it seems that nobody seems to be able to help. Make me an insight check as well.
Me or
I'd say anybody that's listening to this information and cares. Cares enough about it.
insight?
Yeah, insight into what he's saying and how he's saying it.
Ooh,
Hmm,
that was a
that's
lucky
very
roll.
insightful. Yeah. Okay. Darrell and Baron. You see that when he's mentioning that a lot of when he's asked mages and things like that to come and help with whatever it is that's ailing Eugenie, there is a tinge of bitterness there that he seems to have when referring to other mages. But yeah, he starts talking about this other group, and he says, if you are willing to take on this mission, we don't have much time. The bubble realm has a condition that it opens only on a full moon, which is in 2 nights' time. The previous people that we hired to go there were called the Ruby Jacks. They're a mercenary group, and perhaps it might be good if you were to take on this mission to go and speak to them, or rather the I don't know how many of them are still in the country at the moment. He looks over towards Daria, and Daria says, I think it's only 2 of them at the moment, not since Jack died.
So, did they refuse to do this, or because they thought it was too dodgy, or because somebody died doing something for you?
Daria nods and she says, when they went before, they went for the first time. The person leading them, Jack Sinclair, he sadly, bubble realms are incredibly dangerous. They knew what they were going into. We had our reports and our diary entries that we'd read from people that had discovered it before. They knew that it was going to be dangerous, and sadly Jack didn't make it out.
What kind of dangers are we talking about here?
Well, from their report and from the diary entries that we've found before, it seems to be overrun with undead. There's lots of...
Is there a name for this bubble realm?
We don't know. We have an idea that it might be one of the 3 cares. So Care City, Care... and she names 2 others. But we're not entirely sure.
Have we heard of those before?
That would require another history check, I think. Sorry about the... This is a lot of information I'm plopping on you right now. Go on.
I'm just guessing that the last one was called Don't Care.
Don't care, yeah. Couldn't care.
Very good.
Hang on.
Not a care in the world.
Well, it's because it's in the bubble realm.
It's just its own little thing.
There's a lot of none of us knowing anything about it.
Yeah. So Care City is mentioned.
Is that CAR?
Care Pedraven and
Carefully.
Caerphilly, yeah, Care Vedwin.
Could you put those in the chat?
I can.
Please?
Oh, and Care Rigor. Okay, there's quite a few cares here. There's 5 of them.
Our 2 secret weapons.
You should go to 3, not 4. 5 is right out.
It's annoying that it's not letting me do it sneakily, but okay.
And it's overrun with undead?
It is overrun with undead and plant-type creatures. Weird, twisted, strange creatures. Very deadly. But amongst all of these places, it is it has a spring in the center of it, which is there is this spring from we found a diary entry from 1709, which stated that a group of mages had gone and found this bubble realm after talking with a stranger, and she kind of laughs. It a small island off of North Wales. They found their way into this this bubble realm, and what they found there obviously was these just overrun by these undead creatures, these plant type creatures, and several of them were hurt. But as they'd ventured further and further into the forest there, they found this spring that when they rested in it and drank from it, it healed their wounds and cured some of their pre-existing ailments, which obviously piqued our interest when we were trying to find a cure for Lady Eugenie. Finding healing springs is incredibly rare. Obviously, this one comes with a great risk, which is why the council, the realms department, had stated that they weren't going to send anybody in there to risk their lives on it.
Have they banned people
No.
going there?
They had originally, but Lord Renwick holds quite a bit of sway, and had managed to.
Oh, so this is Daria telling us this at the moment. Not...
Yeah, this is Daria speaking.
Sorry. Yes.
She explains that he after Eugenie, they couldn't do anything for Eugenie. He applied to have this for permission for us to venture into the bubble realm about 5 times, I think, and Renwick nods. He looks quite solemn. Before they would allow us to gather a group together to even go in there. And with the Ruby Jacks failing and quite spectacularly, and she looks kind of awkwardly at Renwick as if asking his permission to say something, and he kind of gives his lips tighten a little bit, but then he nods, and she says, Jack Sinclair is although a strange nephew of one of the councillors from the junior council, Augustus Sinclair. There was a little bit of we only have one chance left. We can only have the opportunity to go either this month or next month, but they'll only allow us to do it once more. They won't even send the Order of the Shield in to go and retrieve Jack's body or anything. It's caused quite a bit of trouble.
So if we return Jack's body, could we potentially curry favour with...
I imagine you definitely would. And Renwick says, yes, of course. It would certainly resolve a lot of wounds that are currently open, and the credit would all be on yourselves, not on me at all. But it would do me a great favour as well.
What if he's been turned to some form of horrid undead though? Would they still want his body? Because it's bound to have happened.
They both kind of look at each other as if they'd already thought of that, and just kind of like, yeah. Daria kind of gives you a weird look of like, was that necessary? But doesn't say anything. So yeah. And Renwick says, I can pay you before and after this mission. Um, I'm desperate. That's all I can say. I don't know what it is that ails her, but I feel that the only way is by more than what a mere mage could accomplish. Whatever it is, this spring could potentially mean her health for the next 20 or 40 years. It won't extend her life. It's just to make her healthy again.
And do you have some sort of vessel to transport this magical water in?
So they both look down at the broken pot on the floor, and Renwick goes, "No, but I have 2 days to find one."
Or you have a month.
There was another alternative. Is that we bring her and she sits in it.
Really?
I think that's a bad idea, but it is another idea, and it's a good one.
Do you think she could survive an island full of undead and twisted plant creatures when he kicks the ass of a mercenary group?
I didn't say it was a good idea. I'm just saying, if we can't find a magical vessel, they've already taken a mundane vessel, and the water lost its property.
Listen, he's either got 2 days or a month and 2 days.
True.
To go in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if he hasn't found anything by then that may be the desperate solution. I'm not proposing it. I have to be clear.
Are you suggesting it?
No.
Renwick says,
Burn.
"I would prefer, if I'm honest, for a speedy, the speedier option here. Eugenie does not seem to be getting better, and I don't know whether waiting a month will be."
So we need some kind of vessel to transport the water, something magical.
I have more friends that I can reach out to see if they've got any form of vessel that could do such things. Though, am I taking this as you are considering this? Or...
Well, I'll have a go. I'll probably die, but then again, I'm dead already, so...
I will give
Both,
him
yeah.
Him a look
I
at
think
that.
everybody looks at you at that point. It's just, Renwick and Daria just staring at you like, what? What was that, Carl?
So that makes sense now. That's what Cadman says.
Oh, okay. They both look at each other, but seem to think that, okay, doesn't seem to be a problem. You certainly helped. At the moment, they owe you a great deal, so clearly not an issue.
I'm not a mercenary man by nature, but just so it is clear to everyone, what is the recompense you are proposing?
I can offer you, and he says a number because obviously it's not represented by real. Like, he offers you money to the value of each 5,000 gold pieces each. So you can imagine in your minds, you can come up with a number of what that actually sounds like. It could have been, he said, 50 grand, whatever that represents.
I think that's a vast amount. Judging by when I was buying equipment, I think I've bought a battered old Land Rover for 400 gold or something like that.
It is a vast amount, and it's for each of you. There won't be a massive amount of opportunities in this game for this, but it's essentially. This is me counterbalancing the fact that not all like mercenary missions are going to be paid for like in a fantasy settings where you take a notice off the board and for 8 gold or whatever. Yeah, so this might be your money for a little while, but there will be other ways if you don't want to accept this. I'm not going to force you to, of ways of
Oh,
getting.
I am certainly accepting.
Brilliant.
But that's what you're supposed to do in 5e, isn't it? You're not necessarily. You don't get monsters. Don't come with monetary amounts.
Yes, yeah, they don't drop money. They're not pinatas.
You put an amount in or amounts in at different places to kind of balance it out. You no longer have monsters with loot tables.
That's it, exactly that. So yeah, he offers you this amount, and he will pay you 250 each to begin with before you even go. Because he understands the danger. He also recommends that you go and speak with the people that are still around. Daria informs you of who they are. And
I have a strange request.
Yes, go for it.
The 250 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Can you set me up? I don't know how well your contacts go. Can you set me up a dentist that are willing to give away teeth?
Make me a persuasion check. Oh God, I love it. I love it so much.
It's to feed his friend, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
16.
Daria is just like staring at you, and Renwick looks at you and then goes, "You know what? It's okay. Yes, I can do that," and agrees to do that. And then he just resolves. You can see the moment in his brain where he goes, "I'm not even going to ask any questions anymore. That's it. This group is this group. That's all I need to know. They're going to do the thing."
The group contains a talking dog, so
yeah, exactly.
Has he actually spoken yet, Ben?
Ben, yeah, have you actually spoken yet?
No, I don't think he
spoke at the beginning, didn't he?
Yeah,
No.
I think I asked for a Mars bar.
Yeah.
No, I think you said the word woof.
That was it. Then you asked for a Mars bar.
Woof.
That was in the session 0, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you all agree to go on this thing. So very quickly, Daria mentions this other group, the Ruby Jacks. She gives. She kind of writes down the contact name and numbers for the 2 people that are left out of this group that are currently in this country. And she goes to hand it. She kind of holds it out and tries to decide amongst you who's like the person in charge. And
Hendrix jumps up and snatches it out of her hand.
Cool. Hendrix, you have a piece of paper. It's now very slobbery. You drop it on the floor and you read on it. It says there's a name on it. There's 2 names on it and 2 phone numbers. One says Val Black and the other one says Seth Woodard.
Does anyone have a phone?
Seth Woodard.
The first thing he says, does anybody have a phone?
Sorry.
You can talk. What? You can talk?
Seriously? But of all the things that have happened today, that's your question?
Yes. Pretty much, yes. I've not specifically this stuff, but I can deal with the ghosts and spirits and stuff, but I'm having a conversation with the dog.
From my experience of him, he is now an accepted member of Magical Society.
Highly respected, I think you'll find.
Highly respected?
You know.
Okay, that I didn't get. I merely got accepted.
Darrell goes, Baron, Liam, we know both of them.
I was going to say, are those not the 2 people that we went on a little... Well, sorry, they did the other half of the mission from...
Yes, you could.
What were their names again?
Val Black and Seth Woodard.
I didn't remember Seth Woodard, but I remember Val Black.
Seth was the guy with the nurses doing better t-shirt, and Val was the lady with the scars down her face.
We've got pictures of them.
Yeah,
you got both of them on there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
So, Darrell, Liam, do either of you know? Was was it Spence Clemens who went and joined them. Before possibly phone them, maybe we should check out Clemens and see what he thinks of them.
I've got a working relationship.
That's more than me, so
Darrell, you've got his phone number.
Yeah.
it can't hurt to see what he says about them first.
Okay.
Okay, before we go scattering to the wind doing stuff,
It's
I
making a
don't
phone
know.
call. It's not going anywhere.
I don't know most of you.
Yeah, what are your names?
I know your names, but I don't know who you are, what you do. I've seen some things you can do now, but I don't know you.
Hush.
I've seen
Flies,
him.
flies up in front of your face, Raphy, and she says, "They're heroes. Didn't you see?"
Be that as it may, I still don't know them. I mean, I've seen him before, and I point to Cadman, but he looked different to as he looks now. But I haven't met any of you beforehand. No offense, but if I'm going somewhere where there's a chance that somebody's going to die, I kind of want to know who you guys are, what you can do. I mean, I'll tell you the same of myself if you're interested, but I as far as I know, he's a druid. You sing and have a sword. You pull things out of your coat and hit things. You've got a bow, and I've got a talking dog. Who I assume that ghostly dog that came out was your doing as well, then.
Yeah.
What more do you need to know?
What are your capabilities? What sort of stuff do you do? I'm not a member of the council. I'm not affiliated with the council. You guys, well, some of you seem to be affiliated with the council.
I have occasionally acted as a bodyguard for a member of the council.
So Darius says, "You guys don't know each other."
I've done some work for the council before.
I've bumped into two of these people before.
Have you?
Yeah, you're the strange gentleman that was fighting vampires near Canterbury. You didn't hang around to talk.
It'll take Liam a few kind of moments to work out what he's talking about.
And Liam, he doesn't look like that person you met in the woods. Yeah. At the moment, he looks like a gardener with a spade.
I forgot that. I forgot
Yeah.
that.
I don't know any of these nut jobs.
So Daria goes, "Are you? Didn't you all reply as a group to the leaflet?"
I replied to the leaflet by coming here, but I haven't met any of these people before. Apart from the druid over there.
That's a remarkable coincidence that you all come at once.
My friend suggested I come along, said it would be good.
Hey, gardener, you were a girl the last time I saw you.
You were a girl.
Yeah, I was a student, wasn't I? Oh, the art case. That's funny.
Hendrix, we have met, though not formally. We weren't
Really?
formally introduced. I was at your hearing when there
Oh
was
yeah, you do smell familiar.
I love it.
So, okay. So what can you guys do? So we've got a bodyguard. So I assume some sort of fighter, defensive type person.
I have a number of capabilities. I use a little magic, most of it combat related, and I can more than handle myself.
Okay.
Though to be fair, those creatures ripped me to pieces, so maybe I am overestimating my current capabilities.
Yeah. I don't know how that feels.
What about yourself?
I'm a martial artist. I mean, I teach capoeira and karate and tai chi. I've dealt with some spirits in the past, and you saw the visage that I presented to you when I was getting my arse handed to me. Let's just say I smack things hard,
Okay.
and I can tell other things to disappear occasionally. And you with the bow, what, archer?
I hunt vampires.
Vampire hunter.
Aye.
Cool. So we've got a bodyguard and a vampire hunter. I know we've got a druid.
You hunt more than vampires. What were we hunting? We were hunting for a missing person.
Well, I can hunt lots of things, but I try to hunt vampires. That's my calling.
And your comment about being dead. Can you explain?
What? Not really.
Insight check.
Yeah.
Is he
Hush.
lying his arse off?
Sure, absolutely. Maybe an inside check.
Oh, I've got no idea.
Not a clue. He's really hard to
I
read.
will nod sagely at him as he says
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah. Hush pipes up and goes,
Who?
explain why you're alive. Hush.
Who's
Yes.
Hush?
Hush.
Dusk.
Hush. Dusk, not Hush.
Dusk.
Hush is someone else. Dusk pipes up and says, explain why you're alive.
Well, I don't know, do I? That's what the doctors try to find out.
No, I was telling him. She points her little finger at Baron, who has obviously taken offence that you've socially attacked her friend. So yeah,
and you with the long coats and the singing sword.
Yeah, just a matter of rules. The blazing used to be only elven or half elven. Is that you still hold to that?
yeah, because why not?
Okay, and so I'll say, well, I'm Fey trained as a blade singer, which means I'm all right in a fight, but I can do magic.
Okay. Cool. So we have a vampire hunter, a bodyguard, a blade singer, magic user, fairy person, a druid who can who can make trees grow, and make himself look like
All
other
righteous
people.
fighter with my roots in earth.
Okay, sure. And a dog who makes other dogs appear and attack
talks.
folk. And a fairy. Not forgetting Dusk.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Who can forget her?
No one. Darius says, so are you all right operating as a group? Do you have a name? I'm assuming not, seeing as you've just met.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, perhaps. I mean, you have 2 days.
I think. Well, I think a name will come if we decide to continue operating as a group.
It's very true.
I can't see it happening.
That's the end of the stream, guys.
Experience has told
See you losers later.
Yeah, bye.
Liam. Experience has told me that you should not prejudge these things.
Experience has told me everything goes wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
The luck of the Irish.
Or a lack of it.
Exactly. Well,
If there's anything else that you guys want to do,
I want to go through his library and just see if I can get books of magic. The magic of King Solomon, just to see if we can find anything more about that seal. I don't know if there's anything to find or what.
Absolutely. You can do this together or singly or whatever. If you guys want to make a investigation check, you could do so with advantage each. because you're in a library with a lot of knowledge, not just a general library. This library specifically has stuff historically and religious stuff as well.
And what is it on D&D Beyond to get advantage? Is it shift?
Yeah.
Or right click, are you?
Yeah. So anybody
Oh,
that
it's
wants
shift,
to do
sorry.
this,
Oh, I like
they
that.
can do so with
the right
advantage.
click. I like that.
There you go, nat 20. How is Ben how is Ben? Sorry, how is Hendrix reading these books? Is he just pulling them off and then reading them on the floor, or
Yeah,
no.
pretty much at random.
That didn't roll in that when you right click, it doesn't roll in Roll20. It just rolls in D&D Beyond.
That's weird. What did you get?
Absolute rubbish. I've got a pair of 3s. So
that's
Actually, folks, I've just had an idea. I might be able to source some sort of magical container. I need to speak to someone.
The other none of us claimed particular healing powers. Lord Renwick, you are a cleric.
yes, that's correct.
Are you proposing to accompany us?
Oh goodness, no! I'm far beyond my capabilities nowadays. All of my magical abilities is geared towards knowledge-based.
Well, you performed some healing magic on myself during that fuck up.
Naturally, I have. Are you lacking in healing capabilities?
It sounds like as a group we lack someone who is some sort of medic or mystical healer. And I have a few capabilities.
Stuff.
I have a few capabilities, but it is not my area of expertise.
You saying you need some healing?
Not now, this minute. What I'm saying is, if we have some form of healing that we could take with us on this mission, it would be worthwhile.
Well, our Irish fella can summon some sort of ghostly dusk that grants healing.
Okay,
I have a few ways to.
As do I, but should Lord Renwick be able to acquire any of the potions of healing, then I think that would be beneficial for our mission.
I definitely be able to get hold of something like that for you. Yes, they're not so. I mean, potions went out of fashion centuries ago, but I can. I know of a. I suppose I can give you his contact details as well. I haven't been for absolutely years. I'm sure he's still in the same place. He gives you a name and an address, and he hands it to you, Baron.
Okay.
And
Who is this?
the name is Gareth Smith. And he gives you an address, and it's just a place that's not a super crowded city place. Seems to be out in the middle of the sticks of somewhere, mid-country-ish. Nottingham. Let's go Nottingham.
Okay.
Whilst these guys are going through the library,
Yep.
Before we do all that, I'm gonna
very quick.
nip because it's coming up to 5:2.
Yeah.
I wanna nip off and make a phone call because otherwise Tom will forget to make the phone call next week.
All right, OC, you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to OC. I'm saying that Tom will forget that.
Oh,
Raphy had
okay.
the
So
idea.
Raphy is going to make a phone call. Oh, I see.
Raphy's going to make a
Gotcha.
phone call.
All right.
And I want to call Ash.
Cool. I'll do that with you in a minute.
Yeah.
So first of all, Ben, Hendrix, and I think Darrell and Baron, and Liam,
Liam's Liam's not doing the investigation for anything to do with Solomon.
Okay, cool. Is he in the library though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're all in the library, all four of you. you're all looking through. Darrell, you find a book specifically about well, I say specifically, you find a Quran that mentions a lot of things about Ifrit. You know from that check that most Ifrit, jinn come in levels. The evil ones, the demon, well, not all jinn are demons, which is weird. But these ones are very obviously evil, demonic. Ifrit generally serve a bigger creature called a Marid. 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 And those are like bigger jinn, essentially. Ben Hendrix is sniffing around all the bottom shelves where everything's dusty. Everyone generally goes for the middle books or the higher books first because that's what they can see. But being a dog very close to the ground, you're seeing all the books that haven't been touched in fucking forever, and you sort of looking along, and you see the fucking name Solomon. You're like, it's right here, guys. So you pull it out, and it flops open on the floor, and it's a book called The Lesser Key of Solomon. The Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Lemegis. Okay, I'm not going to pronounce it.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. There we go. It's a grimoire, basically, about demons and King Solomon's involvement with capturing, documenting all the different types of jinn and marids and other demons. It wasn't just those types. And how he'd so there were 72 of these demons, and they were named, and it tells you what had kind of happened to these sort of demons. And I think with the Nat 20, you kind of almost immediately find, I say immediately, it takes you a little while, but you do find a couple of jinn that you think may be what this thing is.
Oh, it's not one of these married to them.
What was that? Sorry, you're breaking up.
It's not one of these Marid things then.
Yes, sorry, it is a Marid. It's a jinn is a Marid. It's sorry, it's
okay.
Yeah. Apologies. There's a little bit confusing there. Because of, I don't know if it's me that is going funny on the computer there.
I think it's you.
Is it me? God damn it. Sorry, guys. So the Ifrit and the amount of Ifrit that were, well, you don't know how many Ifrit there were. From the look of it, I think because it's a Nat 20, I'll let you know that you figured out what the married's name is. Ooh. Because of there is only a limited amount, and everything is, considering where it's from in Egypt and things like that, you can kind of go, okay, location wise, it's got to be one of these three, and the other two are accounted for, so it must be this one. Prince Jadba is a married, and I will put the name in the, if I can actually copy it. I'm just gonna have to type it.
And sorry, is Hendrix sharing this information or keeping it to himself?
No, yeah, I'll share it. I'll point it out to everyone.
Sorry.
It's supposed to be in the middle.
Okay.
This is what you're looking for.
Okay, so this thing that has come out of from this specific symbol in this specific location, Prince Jadba, and that's literally all you're going to be able to get. I think that's probably all of the information I currently have on it. Okay. Perfect.
Because I want to go and find Lord Renwick and say, I don't think this is come from our group, but you might want to inform the Council of Mages that.
Yes, I absolutely plan on doing that. You can see that he's got a sending stone on his person. He's got a mobile phone as well, but the sending stones, especially with the higher up mages that like to be in their own little magical realm, not their bubble realms or whatever like that, but when their houses are covered in magic like this one, plays a lot with the interference, which we'll get to with Tom in a second. So
I'm
yeah,
gonna have to go, guys, because it's 11 o'clock.
okay. So yeah, we could get to the rest of it next week. But
we'll start with that conversation then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we finish there then, yeah?
Yep, we'll finish there. So thanks for joining us, and join us next week. Hopefully next week, fingers crossed, for episode 4. Like and subscribe.
Thanks so much.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye.
watching.
Bye.